In this video, we will examine the aims and objectives of a curriculum at the subject level. Let's take a look at two different subjects at a higher education level. Higher education or tertiary education refers to all programs provided by colleges, universities, graduate schools, and junior colleges. In the context of our study of curriculum design, we are using the term aims to describe the larger purpose of the program, whereas objectives are more explicitly written. Although different programs may use different terms to label their educational goals and objectives, we need to be mindful of the difference between the two in order to correctly identify them. The first curriculum we are going to examine is a module called Learning, Assessment and Feedback in the Bachelor of Education program at Taylor's University. This module is offered to Year 1 students who are studying to become teachers. The aim of this module is described in the synopsis section of the syllabus. Basically, this is an introductory course on what learning is, how students' learning is assessed, and what are the principles of good assessment practices. What do you think are the learning domains embedded in the aim of this module? Pause the video and try to identify the keywords that suggest the domain or domains of learning involved. It looks like the aim of this module describes learning in the cognitive domain, which is typical of a subject offered at a tertiary level of education. The keywords and phrases highlighted are the areas of emphasis of this module. However, it doesn't mean that students only gain knowledge and understanding of assessment through this module. Let's look at the learning objectives to see if other domains are involved. Pause the video and take a minute to identify the learning domains embedded within the 4 objectives listed here. Identifying learning domains should go beyond picking out the verbs or behavior from the learning objectives. Considering the context of where this module belongs, the domains identified here are from the cognitive domain from learning objectives 1 and 2. Skills, specifically communication skills, from learning objective 3, and the affective domain from learning objective 4. You might be thinking, however, why lifelong learning is classified under the affective domain and not under the skills domain. Examining the syllabus document further, I found that learning objective 4 is assessed via an assessment called reflective analysis, where students have to examine their personal values and thoughts about assessment. Since this relates to metacognition, the primary domain of learning is the affective domain. Now, let's have a look at another subject offered at a higher education level, Cambridge A-Level Mathematics. This subject is offered to students under the Cambridge A-Level program as a requirement for certain degrees at the university level. So this is a pre-university course. Here are the 2 paragraphs that describe the aims of the Cambridge A-Level Mathematics subject. Can you try to identify the domains of learning by choosing key phrases that you think reflect the area of emphasis? Pause the video and give it a go. Again, as described earlier, it is typical of a subject offered at a tertiary level of education to consist of predominantly the cognitive domain. It doesn't mean that the other areas of learning are not valued. Now, let's examine the objectives of this subject. Pause the video and read through these objectives to find the keywords that correspond to the relevant domains. The dominant domain of learning within the objectives of the subject is still the cognitive domain, with emphasis on the depth and mastery of the knowledge of mathematics. In addition to the aims and objectives of this subject, We can also evaluate other outcomes that reflect how the goals of the program are achieved. Cambridge proposes to develop the 5 learner attributes in all of its subjects. In the context of mathematics, the learner attributes are described here. From these descriptors, we can say that emphasis is also placed on personal development. Hence, this reflects learning within the affective domain. Learning domains are not always mutually exclusive, so it is also logical if a statement of aim or objective involves more than one domain of learning. Consider the 3 major domains of learning: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor as intersecting areas of learning. The skills domain is placed at the center as it relates to learning in all of the other areas. Let's take communication skill as an example of a skill. In the context of mathematics, to communicate effectively, one requires good mathematical knowledge and the ability to convey the information to the desired audience. Hence, it's an interplay between the cognitive and skills domains. Hope you find this useful. For more examples, check out the other videos in my channel. Thank you.